38 parameter da.
That's making me sick.
Bilir.
A very good morning to you all. Good morning, Advocate Chauke. Good morning, Ms. Williams.
Good morning, Chairperson.
You well today? You good?
Yes, ma'am, I'm good.
Yes, thank you. You continue to be under oath.
I understand that, Chairperson.
Thank you. Before we proceed, we have a new family member. Bring the mic. Introduce yourself, Monica.
Thank you. My name is Ratabile Mokhadle. I'm a partner at Harris Newpon Mulibadzi Attorneys.
Yes, thank you.
Do you have that, Ms. Williams?
I have it in front of me, Chairperson.
And the last question I had asked you yesterday was to identify the document, which is to tell the panel what is this document that we're looking at.
What is the page?
DC 000-388.
388.
Yes, apologies, Chair.
Yes, thank you.
So, Ms. Williams, could you tell the panel what is this document that we're looking at?
We are looking at an ICD crime scene report.
And do you know who the author is of this ICD crime scene report?
I, Shamila Williams, was the author of this crime scene report.
Ms. Williams, you're frozen on our end, but I take it you can hear us clearly. Oh, there you are.
Yes, yes, I can.
So you're saying you are the author of this particular ICD crime scene report?
That's correct, Chairperson.
And could you tell us what we see there on the first page, which is, it reads the Independent Complaints Directorate Crime Scene Report, and in brackets, to be completed by ICD investigator at the scene of, is that Class 1 case?
A Class 1 case, yes.
What is a Class 1 case?
It means death as a result of police action or death in police custody.
And then it tells us the ICD office at 1.1. What's the ICD office there?
KwaZulu-Natal.
And the CCN number, which we've heard about a few times?
It's 2009 020295.
And the substation area?
Durban.
And then we've got a CAS CR number. What would that be?
185 of 2009.
And then we see there under ICD investigator and other ICD personnel. What does this record?
It says Ntombi Gibson.
Yes.
And Shamila Williams.
And then we can skip over, sorry, just before we do, there's an address or locality of the scene. What does it state here?
It says Umgeni Road.
Now, if we skip over to the next page, under 8.1.
Before that, Councillor, sorry to interpose, if we may recap, this is in relation to the deceased Mr. Bongani Mkhize.
Yes, Judge, that's correct. His name, I was just about to ask a witness about that, appears right at the next page.
Okay.
Ms. Williams, would you confirm whether this is in relation to Mr. Bongani Mkhize?
Yes, I confirm that, Chairperson.
And then we see it states the apparent cause of death. What would that be?
Just hold on.
It's at DC 000-389.
389.
Yes,
okay, so
the next page.
I've got the wrong file in front of me. 389. Excuse me. That's not this one, it's this one. 389. Oh, I have it here. Apparent cause of death, that's gunshot wound.
Right, thank you, Ms. Williams. Then we can skip over the blank pages that appear at 390, 390, and then we get to 391.
Yes, I'm there.
It sets out what it states there as the particulars of SAPS members involved in death of deceased. Could you just tell the panel who are the particulars of SAPS members who have been involved in the death of the deceased?
Okay, I will start with 11.1. Service number, it's 04823111-7, and that's the rank is inspector. The name of the person is Hlamuka.
Yes, and you can skip
And
over
then
his cell phone number. And what's the station?
It says NIU.
Thank you. And then the next name?
11.2, service number at 700-9813-1. His
Yes.
rank is constable, and his name is Mfene,
And then,
stationed at
yes,
NIU. NIU.
thank you. And then 11.3?
11.3, service number 700-9788-7, Constable Sikulume, NIU.
And then we have a description of the exhibits found on the scene at paragraph 12, which you've taken us through. But could you just read that out?
12.1, one black wallet, Camel Active, written on top, containing 1,273 rand and 90 cents, and 2 gold credit cards, Voyager, and 1 garage card. 1 times FNB checkbook with 1 signed cash check for 21,000 rand, dated 2008-09-01, and I have a serial number on there, 220-226. And 1 blank check, signed and not dated. Next item, 1,000 rand, and then it says here, covered in blood. It
Yes.
says 8 times 100 rand notes, 1 time 200 rand notes. It also says a Z88 firearm, serial number filed off.
And then we move to 392. And then it sets out the manner of the disposal of the exhibits. Can you just tell us what that is?
Okay, this is where I booked it into the SP13. Can I read for you?
Yes, please.
Booked in exhibits at Durban Central in their SCP-30 number, exhibit register number 354 of 2009.
Yes, and then it contains a sentence there just after that.
Yes, taken by LCR.
Advocate, Madam Khali, sorry to interrupt. When Miss Williams, and good morning, Miss Williams. When you
morning, ma'am.
collect exhibits in a scene of crime where there was a shooting, isn't a gun that fired the fatal shot, or the guns that were fired, aren't they part of the exhibits that are supposed to be collected at the scene of crime, or what is the procedure? Thank you.
Yes, ma'am, and that is why I've said, and I should have been more specific when I was speaking about the firearm that was taken by LCRC.
I'm not only referring to the firearm that was supposedly found in Mr. Mkhize's of car. the police version is that it was fired towards them. That's fine. It was collected. But what about the firearms that were collected, that were fired by the 3 officers that are mentioned here? What is the procedure in relation to those firearms?
Ma'am, you have a few options available to you. The firearms can be seized at the scene. The members are known in this case, so the members can bring you those firearms and they can hand it over to whoever the investigating officer then will be. So there was no real hard and fast rules regarding this. As long as you receive the firearms and that is then sent to the ballistics for testing, everything is in order.
Thank you. And I assume that later on we will hear about the firearms of the 3 officers having been taken for ballistic testing.
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
Thank you, Advocate Baloyi, Mary SC. Ms. Williams, you'll recall we took you to the affidavit yesterday. We'll come back to it again, in which you set out the circumstances in which you received the firearms from those who were involved in the shooting. But if we could continue at paragraph 15, or point 15 of your form, which is at DC 000392.
Okay, would you like me to continue reading?
Yes, you set out in DC 000392 at paragraph 15, on the form it says short summary of events as determined at scene. And then there's writing there. Could you just tell us what's written there?
Okay. It's written on Tuesday, 09/02/03 at plus minus 1300 hours. 2 members from Cato Manor Organized Crime were following up on information regarding the shooting of Superintendent Kongo and Chief Zondi in accordance to Durban Central Case 185 of 2009. The members allegedly followed the deceased as he was driving from his residence at Ridge Road, and a car chase allegedly ensued. The deceased was driving a black Toyota Lexus and he allegedly fired shots at the 2 members. The 2 members allegedly called for backup on the radio and members from NIU responded, giving chase, and they allegedly tried to pull the vehicle over. The deceased allegedly fired shots at the NIU vehicle and the members returned fire, fatally wounding the deceased.
Now, if we could just go back to what you set out in the second sentence of that paragraph, which is that the members allegedly followed the deceased as he was driving from his residence at Ridge Road. We've gone through the affidavits of Officer Stoltz and all the other members of Cato Manor. And all we see from the affidavits is they say information was received and then a chase began. How did you come to learn that the members were following Mr. Mkhize from his home?
This is something that I think was related to me by the NIU members. Or not, sorry, just correction. I think this is something that was relayed to me because I wrote it here from the duty officer. I would have gotten this from Captain Govender. My apologies.
So Captain Govender is the one who relayed to you that the version he received from those involved in the scene was that they were following Mr. Mkhize from his residence.
That's correct, Chairperson.
But there's no mention of this in any of the affidavits. What do you say to that? What should the panel make of that?
Obviously, Captain Governor would have interviewed these members, because remember, we don't interview them. He would have interviewed them, and this is the story that they would have told Captain Governor. And Captain Governor is then our contact person at the scene, or whoever the duty officer is, and he relates to us the story that he gets from the police officers at the scene.
But this is all omitted, am I correct, Ms. Williams, from the statements?
That's all omitted from their statements.
And what should we draw from that?
That the members lied.
But what I'm trying to understand is what would be the benefit, the incentive behind lying about the details of their chase?
In my view, they tried to cover up what actually happened. They didn't have their story straight. As I said yesterday, when I was mentioning to you that the normal spokesperson that normally controlled and managed the situation was not present. So the way I see this, these members were all over the place. They didn't, or the duty officer that they are now using does not understand what it is that is supposed to say. That is, in my view, Chairperson, and my dealings with Keto Manor on previous occasions. So they give this story. The captain does not know how to manage what he's going to tell ICD, and he's telling us exactly, and they had now forgotten, or I don't know why they didn't put that in the statement. They have now forgotten and they omit this part. But the captain must have heard this, because Captain Governor would not give me a story unless he's heard it from the members that he interviewed.
And then we come to the second part of your statement there.
Sorry,
I'm sorry.
before you leave that point, Ms. Williams, as a former police officer, what should we make about the fact that the members followed the deceased as he was leaving from his residence? One, it says to us they knew where he lived. And also then what follows if they wanted to arrest him, they could have easily gone to his residence instead of waiting for him to leave, then follow him and chase after him. What should we make of this detail, that especially that they knew his residence?
Ma'am, I hear what you are saying. They knew where the member was, or where the suspect was. They should have actually gone. They could have knocked on this man's door. But there was already this interdict. There was this order. If they really wanted to speak to Bongani Mkhize, if they really wanted to arrest him, if he really was a suspect, ma'am, they would have called his attorney, S.D. Malloy. But what I see here, and what I found at the scene is that they were not interested, ma'am, in any arrest. In my view, it is very clear that they had one goal, and that was Bongani Mkhize was not going to make it out alive on that day, if I may be so bold to say that, because this is what I see from what I heard and what I experienced afterwards conducting my investigation.
In fact, Ms. Williams, we'll come to that. But what I'll demonstrate to you, and it's part of your statement, is at the date on which this happened, the court order by the Durban High Court had already been issued. Am I correct about that?
That's correct, yes.
And that court order required that if Mr. Mkhize was sought after by the police, that he would be handed over through his attorneys.
That's correct, Chairperson.
Ms. Williams, the preliminary report in the form, the CD72 form, when was this report written?
Just the reference number again, Chairperson?
You see DC 000388, your preliminary report in form CD 7-2.
So I'll give it to you now, ma'am.
Yesterday you informed us that as an investigator,
Yes, ma'am.
you will start investigating and completing the form, the preliminary report, CD72,
Yes, ma'am.
correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And this is the form.
Yes, ma'am. I've got it in front of me.
The preliminary report as reflected in CD 72 at DC 0000388. When was this
Yes.
report written? Was it on the
This
same
was
day?
written on the very same date, ma'am, yes.
On the very same day,
Yes, ma'am.
which will be the 3rd of February 2009?
That's correct, yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Proceed, Councillor.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah. Ms. Williams, you then continue in the statement and state that the deceased was driving a black Toyota Lexus and he allegedly fired shots at the two members. Who are the two members that you're referring to here?
The two members would have been Adrian Stoltz and Raymond Lee.
And then you continue that the two members allegedly called for backup on the radio, and members from NIU responded by giving chase, and they allegedly tried to pull the vehicle over. The deceased allegedly fired shots at the NIU vehicle, and the members returned fire, fatally wounding the deceased. Is that correct?
That's correct, Chairperson.
And you'll recall the chairperson asked you yesterday what was conveyed to you when you arrived at the scene. Could you just repeat that answer?
Are you talking about the NIU or the duty officer now?
No, what's contained here in paragraph 15.
Okay. Do you want me to read out the whole thing again?
No, just again in your own words. You'll recall the chairperson asked you what was the sequence of the events as it was relayed to you
Okay.
at the scene. I just want to clarify
Okay.
that now in reference to your ICD form.
Pardon me for the confusion. What was related to me by the duty officer at the scene when he approached me and we were discussing the matter. He said to me, Ms. Williams, this is what happened. Two members from Cato Manor said that they were following the gentleman from his home. A car chase ensued. The member then, the deceased tried to shoot at them or shot at them, and they returned fire. They called for backup. Backup arrived in the form of NIU. NIU took over the car chase. The deceased then allegedly fired then at them as well, and then they returned fire, fatally wounding the deceased. That is the story that we got from the scene.
Apologies for that interruption, Chair. Thank you, Ms. Williams. We then come back after the scene, and you set out in paragraphs 94, 95, and 96 what happened then in your statement. Could we go back to that?
Yes. You say 94?
Paragraphs 94, 95, and 96
And
of your
96.
statement.
Okay. May I continue reading?
Yes, please.
On or about 6th of February, I attended the post-mortem examination of Mr. Mkhize's body. The post-mortem examination was conducted by the state pathologist, Dr. Krista Hatting, but was also attended by Dr. Perumal, a private pathologist appointed by the KTA's attorneys. A private ballistic expert, Mr. Cobus Stale, was also present at the request of the KTA. The other persons present at the autopsy were the scribe, Mrs. Cynthia Tongo, Sergeant Padmini Tilagdakri from the SAPS ballistic unit, Sergeant Castaigne from LCRC, Inspector Denver Daniels, the SAPS detective assigned to the case, Ms. Gibson from ICD, and myself. At the post-mortem, the two pathologists discussed the cause of death. They agreed that the probable cause of death was a gunshot wound to Mr. Mkhize's neck caused by a low-velocity 9mm parabellum handgun.
Now, if you could just stop there. We do have both post-mortem reports, but I'd like to take you to one of the post-mortem reports. You will find that in your bundle at DC 000131. Members of the panel, that would be in DC 1.
000.
000131. Thank you. Ms. Williams, do you have that?
Yes, I do.
Could you just inform the panel what is this document that we're seeing? To assist you, you'll see it begins at DC 000131, and it goes all the way to DC 000143.
Okay. This is a medical legal post-mortem report.
Done by whom?
It's done by Dr. G. Perumal.
And what is the date of the report?
It's 3rd February 2009. The date of death, sorry, he has that. I'm just looking for the date of the report. Chairperson, Council asked for the date of the report. I'm just trying to find the date of the report here. What I can see is the date of death and the date of the post-mortem.
Yes. And it sets out the place of the post-mortem. Where was that?
Place at Durban Medical Legal Laboratory, 85 Gale Street in Durban.
And then it tells us who the body was identified by and who requested the autopsy. And who would that be?
Okay, body identified by Dr. C. Hutting and autopsy requested by the attorneys S.D. Malloy, attorney for the deceased family.
Yes. We then move on to the next page at DC 000132. And it says chief post-mortem findings made by me were. And then could you just read out what's set out there from point 1 to 14?
It says, point 1 says, low velocity gunshot wound through the cervical spine and cord and the left common carotid artery. 2, low velocity gunshot wound through the head with lacerated brain. Number 3, high velocity gunshot wound through the face involving the right eye and nose. Number 4, high velocity gunshot wound through the face with fractured jaws. 5, high velocity gunshot wound through the head with lacerated brain. 6, low velocity gunshot wound passed from the right back to the anterior chest wall. Number 7, high velocity gunshot wound to the right buttock. Number 8, high velocity gunshot wound to the right thigh. 9, shrapnel injury to the right loin. 10, shrapnel injury to the right shoulder. 11, shrapnel injury to the right arm. Number 12, shrapnel injury to the left elbow. Number 13, tangential gunshot wound to the left upper back. 14, shrapnel injury to the right chest wall.
So are these all the injuries that Mr. Mkhize suffered at the hands of the police?
Yes, that's according to Dr. Reggie Perumal, yes.
And then he tells us what the cause of death is. Could you read that out?
Okay. He says, as a result of my observations, a schedule of which follows, I concluded that the cause of death was low velocity gunshot wound of the neck which passed through the cervical cord and left common carotid artery.
So in your own words, what's your understanding about what the cause of death is?
In my understanding, it says that a 9mm parabellum weapon or whatever, but it's a 9mm. It's definitely not high velocity. It's not R554. So this tells me that this could possibly not have been an R5, which we were told was supposed to have been the firearm that was used to kill Mr. Bongani Mkhize.
Now, just in relation to that point you just made about what gun was used, if I could take you to what appears at page DC 000134 of that same report.
Yes, I do have it in front of me.
Could you read out what's set out in 1A and 1B?
1A reads as follows. Gunshot entry wound on the right side of the back of the neck, comprised of a 10 millimeter times 9 millimeter defect with a 5 millimeter rim of abrasion. No associated tattooing, blackening, or satellite shrapnel injury. A bullet wound track passed through the cervical spine at the level of C4/C5. Exposure of the cord revealed a lacerated cord. The track then passed through the left common carotid artery with associated hemorrhage into the muscle, and the bullet exited via 1B. 1B reads as follows. Gunshot exit wound on the left side of the neck, enterolaterally, comprised of an 11 millimeter times 5 millimeter laceration. Direction, right to left and forwards. The injury pattern is consistent with being caused by a 9 millimeter parabellum handgun.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. And then the last page I'd like you to read from this report is at DC 000142.
I am at 142, Chairperson.
Could you tell the panel what is set out at paragraph 3?
The only fatal gunshot wound was number 1, low velocity gunshot wound through the cervical cord and the carotid artery. This was significant hemorrhage associated. There was significant hemorrhage associated with this shot. This wound is likely to have been caused by a 9 millimeter bullet fired from a 9 millimeter pistol.
And 4 and 5?
4 says, the low velocity gunshot wound through the head had minimal associated hemorrhage, indicated that it occurred when Mr. Mkhize was dead. The high velocity gunshot wound through the face was not associated with any aspirated blood into the lungs, indicated that he is likely to have been dead when he sustained these wounds.
Yes, and then there's a final conclusion at DC 000143. At paragraph 11.
The rest of the wounds were superficial in nature.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. We now go back to, based on these findings in the post-mortem report, what you tell the panel in paragraph 97 of your statement.
I have 97 in front of me, yes?
Yes. What does paragraph... Yes.
Okay. Should I start with 97?
Yes, please.
This contradicted the NIU and Cato Manor SPC members' version that the NIU officer shot and killed Mr. Mkhize from a distance, and that when Mr. Mkhize was killed, the Cato Manor members had fallen behind the NIU vehicle. On the contrary, the post-mortem indicated that he was killed by shots fired by a low-velocity firearm at close range.
So, if the panel were to ask you to consider the version given to you by the NIU and consider the version given to you by Cato Manor, who would you say was the likely cause of death for Mr. Mkhize?
Sorry, Chairperson. This was not NIU's doing. This was Cato Manor.
Ms. Williams, you need a moment. Chair, with your leave.
Do you have some water in front of you, Ms. Williams?
Yes, I do, ma'am. Just 1 second.
We are going to pause for a few minutes. And when you are ready, I'll let council. We do appreciate Ms. Williams that these matters do test our human spirit. We will therefore afford you whatever time you require to compose yourself, and when you are ready, do come back and proceed.
Thank you, Chairperson.
We'll take an adjournment, and when Mrs. Williams is ready, Advocate Ramakhali, send a message through our researcher, Mr. Moerani. He will let us know. Then we will reconvene.
Thank you,
We'll
Chair.
adjourn for a few minutes. You are still under oath, madam.
Yes, ma'am.
Good day, everyone. Good day, Dr. Chauke. Good day, Ms. Williams.
Good day, Chairperson.
You are still under oath, madam.
Yes, Chairperson, I understand that.
Proceed, Advocate Ramakhali.
Thank you, Chair. Ms. Williams, the next question I was going to put to you related to this 9mm that we've just read now from the post-mortem report of Dr. Perumal. I was going to ask you whether you know who from the members who you learnt about at the scene fired the fatal shot.
I can't remember offhand, but I think maybe if I just go through my reports again, because that is actually how I made the connection.
Which particular report, Ms. Williams?
I think it was the ballistic report, and then I checked it against the shooting report, or when against the firearms that I received.
Yes, perhaps to assist, I can take you to your affidavit in which you set out the firearms that you received. That would be at DC 000228.
1 second.
Members of the panel, that would be in volume DC 1.
You said 228.
228, yes.
Are you ready?
Do you have that?
Yes, I do.
Could you just inform the panel what it is that you set out in that affidavit? That would be in paragraph 3 of your affidavit.
In paragraph 3 of the affidavit, do you want me to read or you want me to give you an account?
No, I just want you to give me an account. I think you've read this already, but you set out here which firearms you received and from whom.
Yes, in this statement, Chairperson, I named the members, and then next to that, I also named the firearms that was associated with them that they used on the day of the incident. The firearm that was handed in to me by Constable Lee was a 9mm Beretta, serial number H74632 Zulu. The second one was Inspector Stoltz. He handed over a 9mm Z88 with serial number Quebec 020156. And then the additional firearms that was handed in was a 9mm Beretta serial number, Hotel 86407Z, belonging to Inspector Badiachi. There's also a R5 that I mentioned there that belonged to Inspector Maharaj, serial number 335672.
So we know from your evidence that of the 4 Cato Manor members involved, 3 of them had used a 9mm.
That's correct, yes, Chairperson.
Now, this panel has heard evidence from a ballistic expert, Lieutenant Colonel Mangena, who positively identifies the 9mm that fired the fatal shot that killed Mr. Mkhize as the one belonging to Constable Lee. Do you have any comment on that?
Chairperson, Constable Lee, in his account, said that he was the one with the members that was falling behind. Yet his firearm is the firearm that is now linked to the killing. So that doesn't make sense to me, and it tells me that they were lying about who actually shot and killed Mr. Mkhize, and also about the events that led up to Mr. Mkhize's demise.
Chairperson, for the panel's reference, that particular evidence can be found in the transcript. The panel doesn't have to go there now. On day 31, at page 88.
Yes, and the witness may not be able to give you an analysis.
Yes, yes, indeed.
We have to do that
Yes.
to look at the evidence.
Yes. Thank you, Chair. Now, what's also interesting, Ms. Williams, is we went through all of the affidavits of the officers involved yesterday. Do you recall whether Constable Lee ever says that he fired a shot?
No, I do not recall that.
So, yes?
I know that shots were fired, I think it was by Arjan Stolz, if I remember correctly, at the tires of the vehicle.
Yes. So you have a ballistic report that identifies Constable Lee as the shooter. You have a post-mortem that says the fatal shot was by 9mm. You have your report that says a 9mm was handed to you by Constable Lee, yet in his account of the shooting, he says nothing about shooting.
That's correct, Chairperson.
Thank you, Mrs. Williams.
Miss Williams, now that the postmortem has now told us that the fatal shot was fired from a 9mm pistol, and that, according to what has already been testified to before, that would be Constable Lee's firearm. Where does that put, and that would be my first question because I'm going to ask two, where does that put the so-called confession, the statements by the NIU members? Where does that put that? And secondly, I have something that has been nagging on my mind, that their version is that they heard over the radio that the Katomena were pursuing a suspect and they needed help. They came in and overtook the Katomena and arrived first, or were able to stop the Lexus. I'm not sure, but something doesn't add up. And I'm asking myself what type. You said they were driving a Quantum, the one that you tried to investigate. Or if you didn't say they were driving a Quantum, I would really love to know what kind of car were they using, where there was a high-speed chase, but they managed to overtake the Katomena and stopped the Lexus. So those would be my two questions.
Sorry, just the first one again. I know what you're saying about the second one, about the overtaking of the Quantum. You said the first one is the vehicle that Lee them were using.
No, the first one is Given that now we know from the evidence that has already been tendered that by the ballistic expert that it is the 9mm that fired the fatal shot, and that 9mm has now been linked to Constable Lee. But the statements that you got at the scene from, was it Inspector Lamuka and Constable Mfene, was that they overtook the Katomena and then stopped the Lexus and saw the gun, or didn't see the gun, I'm not sure, but then they shot at the driver. And I think at the end of their statements, they say the driver was, they realized that the driver was deceased.
Yes, ma'am.
So these two scenarios, where does it put the NIU members or their statements? What should we make of them?
Ma'am, it's crystal clear that these members lied under oath, which means they perjured themselves.
Meaning the NIU members.
I'm talking about the NIU members because they are saying that they overtook the vehicle and that the member was still alive. That is clearly not possible for them to have done that because, and they've given a statement, both of them have given statements under oath. And that, as far as I know, is a lie, and which means it comes down to perjury. They lied.
But as a follow-up to that, what would motivate the NIU members to lie, in your opinion?
Ma'am, it is clear to me that this was a conspiracy to kill Mr. Bongani Mkhize no matter what. They must have decided that NIU was going to be the guys, the fall guys in this instance. And unfortunately for them, it didn't work because the post-mortem findings indicated differently, the ballistic indicates differently. So there, I'm actually thinking there's three different versions when you actually think about it, ma'am. It's the NIU version, it's the version of Lee and Stoltz, and there's also the version of the late R.C. Maraj in Padayachi when you actually look at it. This wasn't thought through, as I've said, it wasn't thought through. That's all I can say on that, in that regard.
Thank you. And about the vehicles?
I know that Constable Lee them were driving a normal sedan, which in my mind would have been a vehicle that is faster than a Quantum. That's just how I'm thinking about it, ma'am. And for them to have, because they say that Lee them had actually now driven or fallen behind the Lexus, and then they overtook. I don't know if that's possible. I'm not a vehicle expert, but I wouldn't think that it is possible.
A follow-up to the first question by my sister, Balui Mary, Miss Williams. Do you think that the fact that the Katomana police officers were interdicted from killing Mr. Mkhize, and they were ordered to, if ever they wanted him, to then arrest him, do you think that factor could have played a role in the NIU claiming to have been the perpetrators of this killing?
I understand your question, and I think I know what it is that you are asking. I would speculate, ma'am, because it's pure speculation, but I would think yes. Because they knew what the interdict had said at that stage, the NIU had to be the fall guys, because then obviously NIU was not the ones that was named in the interdict, and I guess it would have been okay if they killed Bongani Mkhize. That lets Cato Manor off the hook. That's now my opinion.
Yeah, no, I quite understand that it's speculation, but that's your opinion because I have invited the opinion. Thank you.
Yes.
And just on this, Ms. Williams, sorry, Chair.
Before, before you proceed, if I may just clarify one aspect. The 9mm that was handed over by, or rather to you, that is allegedly the one that was used on the day of the shooting of Mr. Mkhize. Then the 9mm parabellum, was it ever tested?
Yes, ma'am, it's all been sent through to the ballistics.
What were the results?
I do not have the ballistic results. If the council can just alert me to which page that would have been.
Because I don't know whether you're going to get there, Advocate Ramokhali, but when you look at DC 000394, there is a statement by a member of the SARS, Mr. Romania's Mkhize, regarding what was the bullet that was retrieved from the body of the deceased. You see that?
Yes, Chair, I do.
Madam, do you have DC 000394?
Yes, Chairperson, I do have it in front of me.
Do you want to talk to us about this statement?
Okay, would you like me to read out the statement in full?
You can read it and then explain to us from which pistol was this bullet, if you know,
Okay.
or if you are able to tell us. If not, say so.
Okay. Ma'am, this is a statement from R.S. Mkhize. That was the person assigned by Durban Central to go and fetch the exhibits from Gale Street Mortuary. I see here that he speaks about an exhibit under postmortem 2003-2009. He speaks about a bullet head which was retrieved from a dead body and with the postmortem by Dr. C. Hutting. And he says that he kept the exhibit in government safe SMB 00278. I will not be able to give you that because I'm not a ballistic expert, but I can tell you what I obviously when it was received, then I would be able to read that report and I should be understanding what that is, and I will be able to tell you where that came from, because that will obviously now be linked to a firearm that was used on the scene.
Your statement at the next page of Mr. Mkhize's affidavit at DC 000395. The next page. Still
Yes,
on
I see
that
that.
bullet.
Yes.
Do you want to talk to paragraph 2 of that statement?
Okay. On 8th of February 2012, I visited Durban Central SAPS and consulted with Colonel Holby regarding an exhibit that was seized at Gale Street Mortuary by Warrant Officer R.S. Mkhize with the Durban Central CAS 185 of 2009, postmortem 233-2008. Colonel Holby summoned Warrant Officer R.S. Mkhize to his office and he was asked to provide an explanation as to what transpired after he uplifted the exhibit. Warrant Officer Mkhize went back to his office to check, and he returned with the exhibit, which was in a closed bottle. The bottle contains a bullet. I then seized the exhibit and placed it in the ICD safe for safekeeping.
Advocate Ramkhale, I just want to ascertain from the witness, and maybe you can also assist us if you have been able to find a document in the record that tells us that the bullet that was found in the head of the deceased is the one that was shot from the 9mm parabellum that was handed over by Constable Lee.
Yes, Chair. That was the evidence of Captain Omangena, but I'll try with my limited ballistic knowledge to try and draw the connection.
You may not be able to do that. You can just take us to that part of Captain Mangena's report, if you remember.
Yes.
Otherwise, your colleague can look for that reference.
Yes.
And then refer us to it.
Yes, Chair.
Because we want to do a cross-reference.
Indeed. Indeed. Chair, if I could start off with the ballistic report, and then with document by document, then draw the connection, if I'm allowed to.
Yes, if you can assist us with that.
Yes, Chair. Ms. Williams, if we could start off with the ballistic report that appears at DC 00087.
Just give me 1 second. And that would be in bundle?
It would be the Durban Central bundle, right at the beginning of the bundle. So 87, DC, or A18, as the cops would say.
Yeah, I'm almost there.
Sure.
I do have 87 in front of me. Excuse me.
Could you just tell the panel what's this document that we're looking at?
This is a ballistic report received from Sergeant Tilagdari.
Yes.
Sorry about that.
And who is Sergeant Tilagdari?
Sergeant Tilagdari is a member attached to the ballistics unit in Amanjintoti in Durban.
SAPS.
That's correct, ma'am.
He then, thank you, Ms. Williams. We then see from paragraph 3, which you'll see at page DC 00088. He sets out, after giving his qualifications, he sets out the findings in his report. Could you just read that, please?
You said at 3.
Paragraph 3, yes.
Chairperson, I see here on what I have. There's just a little problem here. I have A18. I have 2.7, and then the last one says Inspector Williams, and then I'm supposed to have 3, but then it goes to 4. So I don't know if perhaps there has been a problem, but if you can perhaps put that up on the screen for me, because I don't see it here in our bundle.
Sure, we'll put that up just now.
Thank you. Sorry about this. Still down. Oh, okay, I see that. You're talking about, okay. Should I read that for you?
Yes, please.
On 2009-006 and 2009-009, during the performance of my official duties, I was requested by Inspector S. Williams of the ICD to ballistically examine the body of Mr. B. E. Mkize, PM number 23309, and also to ballistically examine the vehicle the deceased was lying in to determine the direction from which the deceased was shot from. I have the next one. I do have that.
All right. Yes, please continue reading.
Okay. 4 says, upon arrival at the Girl Street mortuary, the following were observed and noted by me. 4.1. 9 possible entry wounds of which the following can be stated. 4.1.1. 5 entry wounds which corresponds to 5 exit wounds. 2 9mm caliber fired bullets found in the body of the deceased, resulting from 2 entry wounds. 4.1.3, 1 entry wound on the right buttocks with no exit wound. 4.1.4, 1 entry wound on the left elbow with no exit wound.
No, sorry, if you could just stop there. So you'll see at 4.1.2, it says 2 9mm caliber fired bullets found in the body of the deceased, resulting from 2 entry wounds. Is that the 9mm that you're referring us to?
That's correct, yes.
And then if you read on at 4.2.
4.2
How do
says
you know
the
that?
following.
I beg your pardon. How do you know that the 9mm is the one that you are referring us to?
Are you speaking to me, Madam Chair? Chairperson, are you speaking to me?
Yes, madam.
Okay. It says
Wait a
here,
minute, wait a minute, officer. Inspector, apparently this is your rank. Yes, you must remind me also if I'm not directing a question to you, because you are the one to answer questions here. Council is
apologies.
referring to paragraph 4.1.2, where it is stated that 2 9mm caliber fired bullets were found in the body of the deceased. And then he said, is this the 9mm that you referred us to? Now I want to know, the 9mm refers to the parabellum, isn't it?
That's correct, Chairperson.
But here, the ballistic expert is referring to, is examining or is analyzing the caliber that was found in the body of the deceased, but not necessarily the pistol itself. Am I correct?
Yes, it's the bullets that she's examining.
Yes. Counsel, do you follow what I'm trying to ascertain from the witness?
Yes, Chair, I do. Chair, the difficulty is one has to read 3 or 4 reports together, because there's a report that collects the cartridges and the guns and gives each serial number. Then there's a report that does the direction, I'll call it that. Then there's a report that says this direction comes from this particular gun. And so I just wanted her to confirm that before we go to the next report.
Yes, but what you said to the witness was the 9mm, but you didn't say the cartridge.
Right.
That's why I
apologize.
interposed.
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
And as a follow-up, remember from Ms. Williams' statement, we have 2 pistols. Constable Lee handed a 9mm Beretta, and Inspector Stolz handed over a 9mm Z88. So if you say a 9mm in general, then it causes confusion because we've got two. We need to be specific. Thank you.
And if I may just remind you and the witness that the reason why we are in this exercise is to determine whether it was the firearm, the gun, the pistol that was used by Constable Lee that caused the injury. So we're trying to make a link to that statement because we need to understand that there was a ballistic testing of that firearm that links it to the 2 cartridges that were found in the head of the deceased. So if you can assist with that when you do your cross-references. Thank you.
Yes, Chair. I will try and assist on that to the best of my ability on these ballistics. I just wanted to confirm with the witness that what we understand here is about the 2 9mm, but I understand the direction from the panel. So, Ms. Williams, we were still on, we were about to get to paragraph 4.2. If you could just place that on record, please.
Do you want me to start reading?
Yes, please.
Okay, the direction of the 9 possible entry wounds are as follows. 4.2.1, 6 were fired from the right side of the deceased. 4.2.2, 2 were fired from the rear of the deceased. 4.2.3, 1 was fired from middle to left of the deceased. 4.3, 3 possible shrapnel lacerations on the right side of the deceased with no corresponding exit wounds. 4.4, 1 possible shrapnel laceration on the right arm with corresponding exit wound on the right elbow. 1 superficial wound on the left upper back and left side of the neck.
And then we can then just conclude off on that report by the conclusions reached at paragraph 5.
Do you want me to continue?
Yes, please.
Upon arrival at the Isipingo Police Pound, the following were observed and noticed by me. 1. Black Lexus vehicle with registration number ND148765. Driver's side windows and passenger side windows were shattered. Rear windscreen was shattered. 3 bullet impact marks on front windscreen. Driver's side tires and rear passenger side tires were punctured. 5.6. The presence of lead vaporizing was also present on various places of the vehicle. 5.7. 32 possible bullet holes on vehicle which I marked as follows. 5.7.1 D1 till D9 shots towards driver's side of the vehicle. D10 till D27 shots from the rear towards driver's side of the vehicle. 5.7.3 P1 to P2 shots from the rear towards the passenger side of the vehicle. 5.7.4 W1 and W3 shots from the rear towards the vehicle. Should I continue with 6?
Yes, please. And then we'll move on to the next report.
Okay. Taking the above points, observations, and documentations into consideration, the following can be concluded. 6.1. Shots were fired from two different directions, angle or while the vehicle was moving. The wounds, 6.2, the wounds of the deceased as well as the damage to the vehicle is typical of a high velocity bullet. 5.56, as well as a low velocity bullet, 9 millimeter. It can also be stated that all possible shots were fired from the outside towards the vehicle.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. Now, that's the first report I wanted to take you through that, from my understanding, tries to reconstruct the scene. There's now a second report by the same sergeant, which marks the respective guns together with the cartridges. If I could ask you to turn to A11.
Before you do that, Counsel, let me just take the witness to the statement of Inspector Dlamuka. And Inspector, or rather, Constable Nene. At
Just remind, I've gotten finished one. Just remind me again which number is Lamuka's one, ma'am?
okay, let me just.
Oh, I've got it. It's fine. I've got it.
Yes, but let me rather take you to the version by the Katumena members who gave chase to the motor vehicle of the deceased. I don't have the specific one, but I'm just going to give you a broad. Maybe we can look at the one by Inspector Stoltz at DC 000-019. DC Volume 1 00019. At paragraph 4.
It reads as follows. The vehicle turned into Highview Road towards Sparks Road, left into Sparks Road towards Brickfield Road. Constable Lee managed to pull up along the side of the Lexus. I produced my police appointment certificate and instructed the driver of the Lexus to stop. The driver of the Lexus ignored my instructions and kept on driving. The suspect then produced a firearm through his open window.
Just stop
Constable
there.
Lee,
Just stop there. Look also at DC 00024. It's a statement of is that Constable Lee, the same volume?
I have it in front of me, yes, ma'am.
Look at paragraph 3. You may read from the sentence that starts with, I followed. In the middle, almost in the middle of that paragraph.
Yes, I see that. I followed the Lexus left into Sparks Road.
Yes.
Got it. I followed the Lexus left into Sparks Road and down towards Brickfield Road. At Sparks Road, I managed to pull up along the right side of the Lexus, whose driver's window was down. Inspector Stoltz produced his appointment certificate and shouted for him to pull over, as we are the police. The driver, who was now identified as Bongani Mkhize, proceeded to produce a pistol and point it at us. I immediately hit the brakes and pulled in behind the Lexus. The Lexus again accelerated, going onto the right-hand side of the road, going contraflow through the intersection of Sparks and Brickfield, turning right into Brickfield Road.
There.
I was still following the Lexus, which was again diving at high speed through the traffic. The car then turned right into Roseland Road, continuing along Roseland Road before turning left into Pastoral Road. The car then turned left
You
into
may stop
Clayton Road.
there. You may stop there. What is common in these two statements of Mr. Stoltz and Mr. Lee and others that I've not referred to you to is that the windows of the vehicle that was driven by Mr. Mkhize was open. You see that?
Yes, I see that, ma'am.
Now, when you look at the statements that you have just read to us, the report at paragraph 5.2, the report is DC 00087. You read that part earlier. Paragraph 5.2. Just read that.
1 second, ma'am. .2 says, driver side windows and passenger side windows were shattered.
You remember at paragraph 3 of that report by the ballistic expert, he says on the 6th of February 2009 and the 9th of February 2009, during the performance of my official duties, I was requested by Inspector S. Williams, that's yourself,
Yes.
correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Of ICD to ballistically examine the body of Mr. Mkhize and also to ballistically examine the vehicle the deceased was lying in to determine the direction from which the deceased was shot from. Now,
Yes, ma'am.
5.2, in line with that task, tells us that the windows, the side window and passenger windows were shattered. What does that tell us?
Tells us that the windows was closed, Madam Chair.
And this clearly contradicts the version of Mr. Lee and Mr. Stoltz.
That's correct, Chairperson.
We also know from the testimony of Captain Mangena, who is also a ballistic expert. You may not have read his evidence, but as we remember, he told us that the windows of Mr. Mkhize's vehicle were closed because those windows, upon examination of the scene, were shattered.
I understand, Chairperson.
Meaning that the analysis by Captain Mangena and of this aspect are consistent.
That's correct, Chairperson.
That being the case, that seems to suggest to me that the two officers, members of the Katomena unit, Mr. Lee and Mr. Stoltz, were incorrect. Am I right?
That's correct, Chairperson.
Thank you. You may proceed, Counsel.
Thank you, Chair. Ms. Williams, the second report I wanted to take you to by the same sergeant appears at DC 00032.
Almost there.
Where are you, Council?
Madam Chair, it would-
812.
DC, it's 812, yes, it's DC 40032.
I've got that in front of me, Chairperson. You want me to start reading?
Not yet.
32.
32, Madam Chair.
You see, we struggle because some of the numbers are kind
Yes.
of defaced.
Yes, that's right, Chair. It's written A12 at the top right corner.
A12.
A12,
That's helpful.
yes.
Yes, thank you.
Now, Ms. Williams, before we get into this report, I'd like for you to have to your side the affidavit that you did in which you tell the inquiry about the firearms that you had received. That would be at DC 000228. I mean, 000228.
40228. Just 1 second. Yes, I have that in front of me, Chairperson.
Now, could you tell us if we go back to A12 or DC 000 or 0032, what is this document that we're looking at?
Sorry, if I'm looking at DC 000228 and you want me to go back to it?
Yes, so what we're going to do is we're going to do a comparative analysis between what was found
Okay.
in the ballistic report and the guns that were handed to you.
Okay.
Right, so,
we've
I'd like
got-
for you to have both documents in front of you.
Yes, I do have.
So what I was asking just now is what is this document that we're looking at DC 0032?
Okay. This, Chairperson, is a ballistic report that was compiled by Sergeant Dylan Barry, attached to the ballistics unit, Amanzimtoti in Durban, SAPS member.
Right. Now, if we go to paragraph 3 of his report, could you tell the panel what it is that he sets out there?
She says, on 2009-06-01, during the performance of my official duties, I received sealed exhibit bags with numbers FSG-417173 and FSD 175799 from the case administration of the ballistic section containing the following exhibits. 3.1 5.56 times 45 caliber vector model R5 fully automatic assault rifle with serial number 335672.
Yes?
3.2 9mm parabellum caliber Lu model Z88 semi-automatic pistol with serial number Q020156.
Now, if you could just stop there and go back to your statement at DC 000228 at paragraph 3.
Okay. Would you like me to read out the whole paragraph?
No. We're told here in this ballistic report that the sergeant received a 9mm parabellum caliber low model automatic semi-pistol with serial number Q020156. On the basis of your report at paragraph 3, who handed you over Q020156?
That would have been Inspector Stoltz.
Then we move on to paragraph 3.3. Could you read that?
One 9mm parabellum caliber petrol Beretta, model 92 FS semi-automatic pistol with serial number H86407 Zulu.
Now, if you stop there, on the basis of your report at DC 000228, who handed you over the 9mm with serial number H6407Z?
Constable Lee handed over a firearm 9mm Beretta, serial number Hotel 74632 Zulu.
No.
Council is asking you about 3.3. The serial number H86407Z. We are not yet at that parabellum that was handed up or over by Mr. Lee. Let's deal first with 3.3.
3.3 says a
Be
9mm
helpful, you can
parabellum.
take the witness straight there at
Yes.
that paragraph.
So, Ms. Williams, you have the paragraph number 3, right?
Yes, 3.3.
No, the 3 in your statement at 228.
Yes, I do have that, yes.
Yes, and you say the officials handed over 4 firearms. 3 firearms were
correct.
hand weapons and 1 was a high caliber rifle. You have that? And then
Yes,
you
I
start
do.
to set out who handed over what. You start off by saying Constable Lee handed over a firearm, 9mm Beretta with serial number, and you set it out, used by him on the day of the shooting. And then you say Inspector Stoltz handed it over a 9mm Z88 with serial number, and we've gone through that one during the shooting. And then you say the members also handed over 2 additional firearms, a 9mm Beretta with a serial number belonging to Inspector Padiachi, and then an R5 rifle with a particular serial number belonging to Inspector
Yes.
Maharaj. You have
Yes,
that?
I see that.
Right.
Yes,
Now,
I do.
what we're doing is a comparative analysis between what the ballistic expert received and the firearms that you also received. Where we were was at 3.3, in which the ballistic expert says they received a 9mm semi-automatic pistol with a serial number. On the basis of
Yes,
what
I
you've
see.
set out in this paragraph 3, who does this gun belong to?
Okay. Sorry, I didn't understand that thing. I actually am there now. It says the 9mm Beretta serial number Hotel 86407Z was belonging to Inspector Padayachi.
Right. And then 3.4,
3.4 says one 9mm parabellum caliber Pietro Beretta model 92 FS semi-automatic pistol with serial number Hotel 74632 Zulu.
and who does that gun belong to?
That one belongs to Constable Lee.
Right. And 3.5,
3.5 says one 9mm caliber fired bullet marked by me as 18592-03.
and what would that be? I don't see a correlating number here.
I also don't see a correlating number here. The best person to explain that would be the ballistic expert.
And then paragraph 4, so we've now identified that the gun at 3.1, the gun at 3.2, Q020156, belongs to Inspector Stotts. Yes? And then the
Yes,
one
that's
at
correct.
3.3, which is the semi-automatic pistol with serial number H86407Z, that would belong to Inspector Padiachi.
That's correct, yes.
And then 3.4, the 9mm with serial number H74632Z, that belongs to Constable Lee.
That's correct, Chairperson.
If you could just make a note on your documents there about who the guns belong to. So when we do this
I actually
comparative
did that
analysis, it would be
already.
easier. All right.
Yes.
Then, in paragraph 4, the ballistic expert tells us that on the 1st of June 2009, during the performance of his duties, he found the following. Could you just read that out?
4.1.
Yes.
19, yes, 19, 9 times 19 millimeter, that's a 9 millimeter parabellum, caliber fired cartridge cases marked 18592-09 in brackets 2. A, B, D, E1 till E3, F, G1 till G7, H, I think L, N, P, and Z2 respectively.
Respectively.
Respectively, sorry about that.
Yes. Now, you might not be able to answer this, but to those of us who've never read ballistic reports, what are these ABs? What do those symbols mean?
That would obviously be the markings done by LSRC. It's either on the scene or where the shots and the cartridges and everything was found, Chairperson.
And then 4.2.
It says 9, 5.56 times 45, caliber fired cartridge cases marked 18592-02 in brackets 2, and those would have been C, Q, R, S, T, U, W, Y, and Z.
Yes. So is your answer the same here about what these symbols mean?
Yes, that's correct, Chairperson.
And then we get told 4.3. What does this expert say there?
4.3 says 1 9 millimeter caliber fired bullet marked 18592-09 in brackets 2 BB.
And then 4.4.
4.4 says 9 millimeter caliber tests marked 592 T1.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Madam Chair, it's almost tea time. This exercise is going to take some time, so I'm mindful of that. Yes.
Yes, Council. Ms. Williams,
Yes, Chair.
we're going to pause for a tea break for 30 minutes. Say until 11:45.
Yes, ma'am.
You are still under oath. We'll proceed when we reconvene. Advocate Ramakhali,
Thank you.
we will proceed where you stopped at paragraph 4.
Yes, Chair.
We adjourn.